Hi, I'm Karen O'Brien, and I'm a mixed media artist and teacher and creator of imaginary characters. This is the first in a series of 5 short videos to give you a glimpse into how I create my characters in my journals. I hope you enjoy watching. I have my journal out here, all prepared. And what I usually do as a first step is just take a look at the page and see if there's a shape that tells me it's a character. And when I lay down papers, the randomness of the papers often defines a character. It's not something I think about as I do the pages, but it's super exciting when I get there. And on this spread, I see 2 characters. I see one here and I see one here. Sometimes, if I'm having difficulty seeing the character, I'll take some deli paper and I'll lay it over the top to help me kind of blur out distractions and see a figure. And on this side, there's sort of there's a body shape here, something like this, and there is like a space here for a face, or collage edge for hair. On the other side, I see this sort of shape here that says some kind of a body, like that. And this could be like a wing, or I don't know, it's got an unusual shape to it. So both are intriguing. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick. But in order to start, I could start drawing directly on the journal page, which I often do. But as I did in the example, I used drawing from my character file. And these are random drawings that I do on little bits and pieces of paper. And I go through these to give me something to work with, and it adds another piece of collage texture. So I'm going to take a few of these and try them out. They're all done in different media. Some are with ink, some are with pens. This one is with one of the Sharpie brush pens. I like the big bold line. As is this one, done with the brush pen. This one was done with an ink dropper and ink. I think these are a good size for this page here. So I'm just going to try them out. This was done with just a regular Sharpie. That's pretty cute. It's an interesting body shape. Sort of reminds me of a bug. We'll see what happens with that. So that is a potential face. Now this one is also potential, but I can't tell with all the paper, so I'm going to just rip some of the paper off. More texture. See where the head would land with the body shape. That's pretty cool. It's kind of sad face. I like that. This is definitely a bug kind of face here. I also like that face. Oh no, it's going to be hard. And here is this piece, which also needs to be trimmed back. I think if it was just this part, it almost fits right on the shoulders almost fit right on the body shape. But I think I like this. I like this one. So we're going to go with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach the face with some matte medium. And try my stipple brush out here. And I just basically brush the matte medium on the back and on the front here of the page, and kind of position my head how I think I'd want it. Make sure there's no bubbles. And get my trusty card key out here and really get that down. So because this is a drawing on vintage paper, I tend to want to put a coat of matte medium over the top of it, just because the vintage paper itself can absorb colors in different ways, sometimes not very pleasing. So just to prevent that, I'm going to put a coat of matte medium on there. And while that's drying, I'm going to take a watercolor pencil and start sort of sketching out my little character. And like I said, I already have this kind of cool thing happening here. I'm just going to take a watercolor pencil, this is a Stabilo, and just sort of use what's here. And maybe what I'll do is I will repeat it on the other side, because I'm starting to think maybe caterpillar kind of a shape here. That's pretty cool. Give these as little caterpillar legs. And let me add a little of this pencil to the face. I draw a pretty simplistic face. Basically, my faces, when I draw them, I do whatever shape I want the face to be, and then I do a simple kind of an arched line to get the face started, and a little half circle for the eye. If this was a full circle, part of the eyeball would be above that half line, and I draw this sort of a stylized eye crease suggesting that. And then I usually put a little swoop in the front, and then halfway between the eyes and the chin, which this would be, I'll sketch in a nose, which is very simple. It's just sort of a swoop. And then I will get a mouth of some sort in here, and like a upside down spread out W. And then I usually do 2 little circles for the bottom of the mouth to the lower lip to give it a pouty look, and then I'll just take my pencil and go in between the 2 circles and a little out here, and I've got a mouth. And I can see from this drawing that I want to adjust the face a little bit. It's fine, it's in watercolor pencil, I can wet it and redo it. But that's my basic face. I vary it by making the eyes larger or smaller. I can make the eyes more linear. I can just do like a dot in a line, but it's the same sort of basic shape. I like my eyes wider and lower on the face because I like that look of a baby face. I have a whole Pinterest board on faces of children for inspiration when I'm looking for a new face to try out. So, to do my faces, I will, no matter what medium I use to begin with, I will add watercolor pencil. And because this is already a pretty heavy black, I'm going to use a black watercolor pencil, but many of my faces I start with a dark blue because it allows me to have a less strong line. But we've already gone here, so I'm using a watercolor pencil to kind of plan out this little body shape. But I could theoretically come back with the brush marker and outline the whole body and keep it all with the same strong marks, which I may decide to do. I'm not sure yet. But one of the things I think caterpillars have is sort of a ridge body. So I know he doesn't have enough arms, but this is an imaginary character. So it doesn't matter that he doesn't have enough arms. I'll give him some ridges here. And I add watercolor pencil in the areas where I know I'm going to have shading. And for me, I usually have the light coming from left to right on my imaginary pieces, so that I always know that I'm going to have more shadows on this side, underneath the chin, underneath these areas that I want to have more dimensional. And on this side of the face, this side of the nose, because the nose would block the light from coming. But it's not perfect, not like a photographic shading, but it's enough to give it an imaginary character, a sense of realism. So again, I'm just going over these lines with a little black pencil because I'm going to use it to add shading. And how I do that is once I get pencil added here, kind of in some areas that I want shading to happen, I will wet a brush with matte medium, and the medium will cause the pencil to become permanent. It allows me to move the marks around, and once they're where I want them, I can be assured that if I go over it with another paint, I'm not going to reactivate them. I mean, that's the beauty of watercolor pencils, is they can be reactivated. Move my water over here. They can move around, so you can, you know, fix lines that you have put in that you don't like. Should be shading under there. This Stabilo black is very black, so I'll start doing this, and then I might come in and kind of water it down a little bit. I love that I used a handmade paper underneath here that has those kind of target-like circles. I think that's pretty fun. I'm going to give this little guy more interest. And you see, I'm not really, this is not a precision kind of thing. This is more of a Zen kind of thing that, you just kind of enjoy the feel of moving the brush around. Just going over each line with the, and it doesn't matter to me if this gets too dark, because I'll be using things to lighten it up. So I'm just going to go and kind of blot and blur these lines a little bit. It's kind of cute. I don't know if you guys do that, but as my characters arise, I start to talk to them. Give them a little character pizzazz here.